Jaishankar with ORF America also joining us in the afternoon, his time. Dhruva Jaishankar, great to have you with us. How do you see this, this Trump 2.0 presidency playing out vis-a-vis India? I know there's a traditional view that India-US relations are strong. It doesn't really matter who the president is. There are fundamentals that are strong. But there's also no doubt that with the Biden administration, while some aspects of the relationship got strengthened, such as vis-a-vis the Quad, there have been irritants too that have crept in the last year or so. So will Trump being the president therefore make a qualitative difference? I think you're on mute, Dhruv. Sorry, we know that's the sort of Zoom era.
Yeah, now we can.
Yes.
we can
Hello,
hear
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was enjoying the conversation earlier with Raghuram Rajan and Shamsaran and others. I think we're waking up in this morning. I was up very late at night following the results. I think the biggest surprise is less that Trump won, because I think that possibility had been on the cards for some time. I think it is the margin of victory. By latest count, he has about a 5 million vote lead in the popular vote. And again, now in the last 12 hours or so, we've had a lot of post facto explanations as to what went wrong for the Democrats, arguably their worst showing in a major election since 2004 at least, if not going further. Now, what are the implications for India? I'd say, look, there are two ways of looking at it. On the positive side of the ledger, I think India does not have the sort of existential dependency on the US that many other countries have, either for military aid or military support, for alliance commitments, for even the level of economic and trade exposure. While the US is the largest trade partner for India, is less, again, existential for its economy compared to, say, Mexico, Vietnam, or something like that. So I think in terms of Trump's complaint and that of a lot around is that the world expects a lot of America, and America should not be overly generous in providing that assistance, whether it's military assistance, financial assistance, and so forth. And that's, from their point of view, India is not one of those takers, with the one exception that I will come to in a second. So I think on the positive side to the ledger, I think we will have an incoming administration that has many problems on its hands. India is not one of them. They don't see India as by and large, a net taking advantage too much of the United States. And so I think they will be broadly favorably disposed towards India, in the grand scheme of things. This leads to two problems. And I think these are two challenges that will have to be navigated over the next 6 months to a year. One is on trade, where India does enjoy a trade surplus of about $30 billion with the US. And certainly Trump and his advisors see, fairly or not, that India is not playing fairly in the global trading order, that it has gotten into Trump's head that India has very high tariffs and basically is not a fair trading partner. And so I expect we'll have some tensions over trade in the next few months. And the best case scenario is those are resolved with some sort of interim trade agreement. This was on the table, by the way, in 2020 when Trump visited India, something similar to that. So that, I think, is one issue that is potentially challenging for India.
I just wanted
the second will be on immigration.
I just wanted to take up something
on visas. Yeah.
Dhruv, I just want to take up something that you mentioned and get a reaction and a comment from Raghuram Rajan. This 5% margin of victory, Trump has actually crossed 50% in terms of the vote, which is phenomenal. It hasn't happened since Bush in 2004 after 9/11. But what is interesting, if we look at the vote swing across the United States, was in favor. It was not, there was no isolated pockets where the Democrats did well. So it was a broad trend across the country. We have a graphic that shows that the average swing to Trump across America was 4 to 5%, 3% swing to Trump in Republican states, 3% swing to Trump in swing states, and a 6% swing to Trump in Democrat states. Now, you'd think that would make a big difference in how the Electoral College vote has switched. But just quick look, last graphic on the how the Electoral College vote has changed. You'll see that it's in the swing states. If we just bring that graphic on, the leading so far versus 2020 elections, you see in the swing states is where Trump got all his seats. Look at that first row. Democrats went down 77 seats and Trump up 77 seats. But in the traditional Democrat states, Trump didn't get a single extra Electoral College votes or seats. In India, we like to call them seats, but it's Electoral College votes. And the traditional Republican states, they held everything except for one state of 4. So Raghuram Rajan, obviously the swing states, they won seats because the margins of victory there are smaller. So even a 3% swing makes all the difference. But the general feeling that this 4% average swing across the country, it's not localized. So there was an anti-incumbency right across America.
Yeah, I think what he's managed to do is, appeal to some of the minority groups that traditionally used to vote Democrat. Didn't make much of a difference in the traditional Democrat states, but it has made a difference in the swing states. So talk about Latinos, talk even about black men. Of course, we'll have to parse the election results more carefully over time to see which groups voted for him. But I think in this point that Arvind made about othering, he's sort of succeeded in othering the outsider immigrant while making the earlier immigrants sort of feel that he is on their side. And that's a very interesting political tactic. He's somehow brought them into the Republican camp in a way that they weren't before. And that may account for the big change that we see.
Long-term political realignment in the American voting structure.
May well be. But,
right.
one thing I would caution, again, Arvind said economics doesn't matter. I wonder how much of this is also a hope that he will somehow be better for them economically. And if that doesn't play out quickly, you may see a change in the tempo towards him. But, let's wait and see.